Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new program. We are calling this program, as you saw from the little intro, Slaying Dragons with Mike and Rob. And I'm joined by Rob Gauguin from Excalibur. Rob, we're ready to do kind of our first episode.
Indeed.
Rob and I talked a little bit about what was this whole thing going to be about. We didn't want to focus too much just on IT processes. We wanted to talk about slaying dragons, solving your problems. And so this was really going to be about kind of what we call the triangle, or what I refer to as the triangle, or what Rob calls the three-legged stool: people, process, and technology. Um, as a scout leader, one of the things that I talk about a lot with my scouts is building fires, right? And Rob's involved in emergency services himself. And you have the fire triangle. You have fuel, you have oxygen, and with the whole fire triangle, if one of the pieces fall out, that's how the fire gets put out. So you need the things feeding that. And it's the same thing for us. It's people, process, and technology working together to drive whatever it is you're trying to succeed in, whether that be ITSM or a specific process.
Exactly, Mike. The This series is really going to focus on those three areas. So we're going to dive into each of those corners, if we will, talking specifically about the different processes that drive business, helping move business forward, creating efficiencies within your business, um, introducing cost reduction, but at the same time improving customer service. And those are the three main purposes of, say, ITEL as a process or framework. Also, with inside the triangle, if you will, is technology. What technologies are going to best support those processes? And the fact remains is there are hundreds of technology components out there that help you drive your processes forward. What's going to meet my needs? And the common mistakes that people make about that technology factor, and how you might misunderstand how some of that technology is, oh, this is not working for me. Well, is it the technology that's not working for you, or is it actually the process that you're using is not really well supported from a technology perspective, or maybe the process is inefficient, you're blaming the technology? And that's probably one of the most common things that happens within our industry is people want to replace their technology, and it's not the technology, it's actually the process. Or the last piece is it could be the people. If you could have the best technology, you could have the best workflow processes, the most efficient, the most cost effective. But if people are not following those processes, if there's no real governance around that process, also when you introduce new processes, things like organizational change management, because people are resistant to change, we're going to take this series and we're going to start talking about all those little pieces that make up those 3 points of the triangle. And we're going to unearth some of the dragons that you may run into when it comes to trying to get over those hurdles, introducing new technology, new processes, or changes in processes. How does it impact your organization from a people and resource perspective? How do you best ease that conversion or that change organizationally? So throughout the series, we're going to take time to go through all of those components and unearth little bits here and there, to help you, slay that dragon, to help you get past some of those hurdles, because some of those hurdles are quite significant. At least they feel quite significant, and they can be remediated quite easily. And the other way is holds true. Sometimes some of the easiest things are the most complicated to get through. So that's what the series is going to be about. It's going to be about slaying the dragons, looking at people, process, and technology, unearthing the components within that, and to bring us to a happier place overall, creating greater work performance, creating great cost effectiveness, creating greater efficiencies as your business needs change. Business evolves over time. The needs of that business are going to change. And what defines maturity from an IT perspective is your ability to respond to the changes in business. That's really, the more mature you are, the more effective you are at modifying, changing, and flexing when business needs change, especially abruptly. And we're going to talk about how do we raise that operational maturity on how we can respond in those three areas in particular when it comes to the businesses that we have and the businesses that we support as an IT group or as a component in that triangle.
Well, and Rob, to that point as well, when you really look at a baseline, right? It's about continual service improvement. You can never really
100%.
rest on your laurels. But
Mm-hmm.
in addition, when you start to look at these pieces, um, while we've kind of got 3 points of the triangle, right? The people, process, and technology. One of the mistakes that we see people make is we try to we try to use technology as an all-in-one solution, where it may be technologies that are working together to achieve a certain goal. So for example, around a CMDB as an example, you may have discovery tools that are working with your ITSM system, and then in that effort around CMDB and asset management, you may have asset tracking technologies that are working with that CMDB as well. So it's the mistake that's made in a lot of cases is that people they're looking for an all-in-one solution, and they'll buy an all-in-one solution. It'll do one thing really well and everything else pretty crummy. Or do a couple things well, a couple things not so well. And there are opportunities with the way everything is interconnected today to be able to get technologies. And from a cost perspective, what we've seen so often is it's not any more cost than trying to buy all the components that are the all in one to buy components that are integrated. Integrations are so common today across tools that you can really get best of breed solutions to solve some of those different challenges. But you honed in on organizational change management, and throughout the pandemic, we had done a number of videos. In fact, a number of webinars, a series of webinars on organizational change management. And why did we put all that time in to organizational change management? Because it's one of the weakest links of the three, right?
It
The
is.
technology, there's technology out there that'll solve anything, especially if your budget is unlimited. You can
Mhm.
really put a lot of good technology out there if you have no budget limitations. Even with budget limitations, you can put together some great technologies that'll help solve your problem. And that's really what it is about helping to solve your problem, because in and of itself, it's not going to do everything. And then you
That's
have
right.
the people that go with that. And the people tend to be the weakest link, um, because we're people, and we're flawed. As you pointed out, we have a resistance to change just
We do.
innately. We see it within our own organization. Folks that work with technology all the time, we get comfortable with certain
It's
technologies,
true.
and then something new is introduced, and it's like, wait a minute, what are we doing with this? How are we going to use this? I got to learn something
Why?
new.
Why is the big question. Why are we switching? Why are we doing it this way now? Some people embrace the change because of boredom and they want to move on to something different. And other people are so comfortable at what they do, they don't want to change the way they do something. And they're just, yeah, the whole can't teach an old dog new tricks kind of idea. But yeah, 100%. So throughout this series, that's what we're going to do. We're going to explore those elements. We're going to take a different topic each week and we're going to unearth those topics and talk specifically about our experiences with combined over 40 years of being in this space between Mike and I, what we have seen, the challenges that we have seen in all three of those areas, and how did we help our customers overcome them? How did the customers approach them? And what types of resistance are you going to be up against on all three sides, whether it's process resistance, whether it's technology resistance, or whether it is people resistance? And I think that organizations today make a big assumption that if I bring in a new piece of technology, it's going to solve a lot of problems. But you're just not, you're ignoring potentially the process side of it, and you're ignoring potentially the people side of it. And why is the most common thing happens is every 3 to 5 years, companies are swapping out their software. Well, this is not working for us. This is not working for us. Is it really the software's fault, or is it really more a symptom of a bigger problem, which lies within one of those two other areas?
Well, and one of the things we also hope to do with this series is we'll have some guests on, luminaries with in the space, some of our vendor partners that may address certain challenges. And we what we don't what we're not going to do is this is going to be a demo show. This is going to be about how do we solve the people, process, and technology problems using all of the tools that are available to us. So we hope those of you out there will join us as we go on this journey of slaying dragons. So we look forward to seeing you out there and hopefully providing some enlightenment.